time of recording this video, it is a new year, and oftentimes at the beginning of a new year, we start a new, resolutions and desires to change our health and wellness. They're not bad things, by the way. I think sometimes they're a little misguided in the sense that we tend to overcorrect. We like extremes, right? That's why many of these books out there sell, these extreme ideas on diet and training. We tend to go too far and make it an unrealistic approach, which, around March, we tend to fall off the wagon. But I bring this up at the start of this video because this is also a time with that extreme approach that I see a very dangerous trend, reinforce itself. And this is the trend of switching dietary approaches. Okay. Looking for the bullet, the magic bullet that's going to make everything better, that's going to make your life better, that this is the diet that's going to work for me. Now, here's the deal. There are a lot of dietary approaches: paleo, keto, intermittent fasting's the sexy one right now. It used to be South Beach, it used to be Atkins, it's still around. I'm a diet coach, and I coach using the whole foods method, meaning eat all the food, just learn how to do it. Like, just because I've seen for most people that is the most effective approach. If you can't eat real food, if you can't understand how to eat all the food, the cheeseburger you like, the chocolate cake you like, then eventually you're going to fall off these fad diets. Very few people hit these fad diets. I kind of equate it to this. You see the get rich quick schemes, right? And so somebody's like, well, I made $1 billion doing this. And you're like, well, that could be me. Well, it could, but the likelihood is not very good that you're going to hit it rich. What would be a better approach is the slow approach, right? Save your money, invest it wisely, those type of things. And over time, over a decade, you've built wealth. The same is true for your health. Every once in a while, somebody will hit it big, meaning they find a diet that just clicks for them and they just follow it forever and they look shredded and they got the good genetics and everything just seems to come together for them with this diet, and they do it forever and they always look great, and they're, a disciple of this approach, and it's fantastic. But you have to realize for most people, I diet coach. I can't tell you how many people I have that come to me after they've tried some other approach. And in fact, what I am advocating is also an approach to diet, whole foods approach. I do feel like it's the most evidence-based in terms of, or has most evidence support of it. Doesn't mean some of these other approaches don't have validity or don't have some things, but I'm talking about in its approach of what is sustainable, what is, in terms of behavior. Diet is a behavior. What are things that we can keep doing over time and not just say, I'm not going to eat carbs ever again? Well, that's ridiculous. Okay. For most people, that is not possible. For a select few, it may be. Okay. And so I hope you kind of hear my emotion in this a little bit, is because I'm concerned at times that I see this cycle even with the whole food method. So people come to me coming off of keto, see success with the whole food method, and then after a while tire of it and want something new and sexy. And so now I'm going to go try, intermittent fasting right now, again, is the sexy one. Well, here's the deal. If something's working, why stop? If you want variety in your life, if you see the whole food method is working for you and you want variety in your life, go and pick up a new hobby. And I don't mean this like in a condescending sort of way. I'm very serious. Go find other things to entertain you. Go find other things to stimulate this creation, this desire to create or to take on a new project or whatever it may be. I think a lot of times that's what it is. Instead of tinkering with things that is working. And now if a diet isn't working for you, then maybe it is time to tinker. Maybe it's time to look at your diet and say, is this an extreme diet that I have no chance of following long term? Okay, so I know I'm ranting just a little bit, but I'm more wanting to be imploring those of you that might be listening is stay away from this cycling of diets and even training to some degree. It's less of a problem with training. It's more of and sometimes the training can even be a little bit beneficial, especially if you've been training a certain way for a long period of time. A little bit of variety is a good thing. But with dietary approaches, if you find something that works for you, don't walk away from it. I'm going to say something else a little controversial. I know my lane. I have a PhD. I don't have an MD. I don't write prescription drugs, nor should I ever. That'd be illegal. I know my knowledge, but I hear a lot of clients that, lots of a big number. That's kind of ambiguous. I have clients, okay? And people that say, well, my doctor recommended X diet, right? There's doctors that have recommended the carnivore diet, which to me blows my mind that an MD would recommend that. A doctor would recommend intermittent fasting. You have to understand that MDs are knowledgeable folks, of course, but their knowledge of nutrition is not very good. Now, some MDs may be well read in the field and but a lot of them just pick up a journal article here and there, or an opinion piece like you, or hear another doctor talk about some of these methods and just adopt them and then pass it on. And to their defense, and to be gracious, try to be gracious with that. I think it's I don't want to just criticize. Doctors a lot of times are in a positions like, well, let me give somebody something that they can get excited about to lose weight perhaps and improve their health. And I think it's well intentioned. I don't think it's malicious at all. But I think it's uninformed at many times. And so, I've had clients that have been doing well on a certain dietary approach, only to have an MD tell them, well, you should try the carnivore diet or the intermittent fasting diet, and that just completely derails them. If it's working for you and your health is in order, why would you change just because some MD told you that? I respect the knowledge of medical doctors, MDs, okay, medical doctors. I respect their knowledge. But we have to, I would hope in this day and age, I think we all should be learning that we're not thinking for ourselves many times. And it's okay to challenge somebody's, and including me, challenge my knowledge and say, why do you believe that? Now, if I give you a good answer, if this doctor says, well, intermittent fasting is linked to this, and you have this health issue okay, wow, do intermittent fasting, my goodness. But if it's just for weight loss and your health is in order and you're seeing success with a whole foods method, why would you switch? Just because an MD throws a monkey wrench into things, right? Just because an MD is trying to just spouting off stuff offhand. Okay. And so again, this is a rant a little bit. I'm passionate about this because I really want people to see success. I want you to see success with your dietary and training approaches. And the field is just so, as you know, is so convoluted. It's so just full of information, and a lot of it's not untrue information. It's just too much information and being dispensed just like it's nothing. Okay, like without much thought. Again, the doctor says to you, intermittent fasting is a good idea, not knowing maybe that you've been following whole food methods and lost 20 pounds and you're feeling great and your gym, your training sessions are off the chart. You're moving towards your goals. Guess what? That's going to take time too, right? So I'm going to go back I'm going to quit this rant here on this. The approach, again, think of money. It's this concept is throughout the way we understand our world, okay? If you take the slow and steady approach, you see success. It's all about consistency. All we see is the people that hit it rich and got lucky. And that's what they did. They just got lucky. They won the genetic lottery. They won the actual lottery. You pick something. They got lucky. They found a diet that just connected with their genetics perfectly. Awesome. Great. Okay. And mentally they're in a place that their mindset is, I can follow this diet forever. And they do. And they see success and it's great. I wouldn't tell them to change their diet either. Okay, but for you, if you are seeing success, and you're like, you know what, the progress is slow, but it's steady. Oh, and somebody says, hey, you can get rich quick. Give me all your money. Well, I think most of us say, no. I'm seeing continued growth, whatever, percentage a year, and I'm building wealth over time. Okay, it's the same with health wealth, if you will. There's a new term. I'll write a book, make a lot of money, is build your health over time. Don't take the easy way out. Don't fall for the new thing. Okay, find if keto works for you, and it doesn't work for many, but if it does, follow it. If that's something that you realistically follow, if paleo works for you, follow it. I wouldn't recommend the carnivore diet; it has no micronutrients in it. But I would, for most people, I'd recommend whole foods method, and then within that whole foods method, finding the configuration that works for you. Maybe you can't do 6 meals, but you can do 3 really well, or right. And some days you have to intermittent fast. You got to find that. You figure out what works for you. Everybody's got to figure out what works for them. And then once you find it, okay, that might take a little exploration. Roll with it. And that's the part I'm getting at here. Once you find it, go with it. Don't let anybody else throw you off just because they have a new idea. If you're seeing success, don't stop. Okay? If you have an investment that's yielding, don't sell it and go chase wild unicorns. Okay? So that's my rant. I'm not mad when I say this, but I hope you hear my passion in this, because I am passionate. It frustrates me that And maybe it's, I just heard one too many medical doctor that has done this. It's wrong. I think it's a little bit irresponsible in some cases, because it's not knowing what the person's doing. That should be more communication. Or maybe to be fair to the doctor, maybe you as a patient not telling, hey, I've seen success with what I'm doing, I'm just going to stick with it. Stand up for yourself. It's your health, right? Okay, enough of that. I hope this is helpful and not just a Dr. Miller losing his marbles. I just want to see continued success. And again, it frustrates me when I see people back away from something that's working for them and their health is good. If your health is bad and there's a connection with that, that's different. But if your health is good and you're seeing progress to your goals, keep going. Be consistent. That's what's going to get you across the finish line. All right. I'll quit ranting. Leave some comments below. Maybe disagree with me. Maybe you should just switch diets all the time. I don't know. I can't imagine that sounds like a good idea, but I think it's almost the norm anymore. The normal Western diet, American diet, is we should switch diets every 4 months. Try something else because this isn't working. Well, maybe it's just because there needs to be some consistency, or the diet was just too extreme for what you're trying to accomplish. It's not a sexy book that would write, eat your fruits and vegetables and plenty of protein. That would be a boring title. Now, I could probably sensationalize it a little bit, but that's a successful approach to weight loss. Okay, it's a very successful approach to weight loss in the research literature, not just my opinion. Now, I've seen this anecdotally as well, but in the research literature, it's a successful way to weight loss and better health. Again, in general, I know there's some that don't eat meat and don't eat animal products, or there's different things I get. There's the word of the decade, nuances, but for the most part, that's a successful approach, and you see a lot of the diets have that as their core, not surprisingly. Okay, I will stop this time. I'll see you in the next video.